Hey, what's up, people? It's about Evans Ongwae, and welcome back to the channel. Today I'll be streaming 24 hours. 24 hours. No, I won't be streaming 24 hours. I just made that up. That is I'm a big liar. And what I want to say is today I'm going to try to stream. Today I'm going to try to perform intentionally. Yesterday I had a predicament. Had some people around the house wasn't interested really.
Don't fail. And, you're not even trying. My wife told me this great expression. To get something you never had, you have to do something you never did.
Congratulations. You achieved failure. Failure has been achieved, thank God. Now, the only place to go from failure is to win. You have to achieve failure. You have to take it that far. Nobody wants to go that far. It's too scary. But you know something? I got news for you. That's where winning is. It always has been. Nothing's changed since the 70s. Nothing. Except people train not as hard.
The hardest thing in life is figuring out who you are and what you want to do for the rest of your life. It's a big decision. And once you figure that out, you wake up every day and you work toward it. That's what you do. It's impossible for you to fail if you know who you are, what you want to do, and you wake up every day and work toward it.
He's hooking. Damn, Ron, come on! What's the matter with you?
Tomorrow. Let's do it tomorrow.
There is no tomorrow. There is no tomorrow. There is no tomorrow.
If you pan it down here, you see it's about 3 o'clock in the morning, and there's not a car or a person in sight. If you pan over here, it's the same thing. Not a car or a person in sight. People want to know where I find my strength at, where I get my strength. I get it from a lot of places, but right now, this morning, I'm getting it from, there's not a sub, there's not a car, there's not a person. Everybody's in their bed, sleep, dreading that it's a Monday, hate it's a Monday, and I'm loving it. I'm loving that. Where everybody's getting weaker, I'm getting stronger. It's not about the running, the swimming, the push-ups, the sit-ups. It's about what those things do for your mentality. You don't get better on the daggone couch. You get better by coming out here and getting the every daggone day.
You don't start things and not finish them. You don't quit.
I think the most important decision you're probably going to make is who you surround yourself with, because you become like the people you surround yourself with. The distance that we can shrink between wanting to do something or thinking something should be done and it being done is a direct indication of our personal power in our lives. And so that has helped me basically think, don't be a powerless.
But if you could just find a thing and work hard at that thing, you'll realize through that thing that you can get good at anything with time and effort.
You don't get discipline from an external source. You have to get it from you. That's what self-discipline is. You get it from yourself. You get it from you.
And if you're 20s, do all of that. Work day and night. Really? Do as many things, learn as much as you can, fail as often as possible.
What about work-life balance in your 20s?
Because that's the time to put in the hard work. Your work-life balance actually comes out later.
Hey man, look, this is what you gotta do, bro. Wake up and grind. Wake up and grind. Wake up and grind. Every day.
I was 6'1" and 300 pounds. He laughed at me. 7 other recruiters laughed at me. I walked in the recruiter's office and he looked at me and he said, "You're fat and you're black." I said I want to be a Navy SEAL. I didn't know there had only been 35 African-American Navy SEALs at that time in over 70 years. I came back 3 months later, 106 pounds lighter.
So there's a quote that I live by, early to bed, early to rise, makes a man young, wealthy, and wise.
You're not the smartest, you're not the coolest, you're not the best looking, but God damn it, you're something. You've got something that attracts people. They don't know what it is. You don't know what it is, but it's there.
Focus and fail fast. Focus and fail fast. Learn quickly. Try something new. And I thought I'd just pass that on because it's sort of what I have discovered over the years is the faster you fail and learn, the faster you succeed. You actually learn to succeed by failing. You know, Thomas J. Watson's famous line, if you want to increase your rate of success, you must double your rate of failure because success lies on the far side of failure.
You do a little extra effort here. You take whatever's normal and you do a little extra to it. That's what makes it extraordinary. Look at the wording, ordinary plus a little extra. What's that extra? Now, that's what makes the difference, man. The extra rep. Getting up an extra half hour earlier. Saying you're sorry to somebody.
I want to answer a question that we athletes, and they put them on a basketball court. And they had group A and B and C just do free throws, and they rated how well they did. How many, right? Don't touch a ball. Don't do anything just for the next 30 days. And they took group C, and they said group C.
That I'm here now. And visualization is.
You used to go up on Mulholland Drive and park
every night.
and visualize seeing yourself as.
Yeah, I would visualize.
This is when you were broken for.
Right, having directors interested in me and people that I respected saying, you know, I like your work or whatever that is, and I would visualize things coming to me that I wanted or whatever.
So didn't you write yourself a check? I heard that you did. Is that true?
I wrote myself a check for $10 million for acting services rendered, and I gave myself 5 years, or 3 years maybe, and I dated it Thanksgiving 1995, and I put it in my wallet, and I kept it there, and it deteriorated and stuff. But then, just before Thanksgiving 1995, I found out that I was going to make $10 million on things Dumb and Dumber.
Dumb and Dumber, yeah. So you visualize yourself?
Throughout history, the most successful artists, athletes, and inventors have used a secret technique to create their success. There is no difference between you and these great successful.
I want to answer a question that we had in our community about power visualization.
These techniques are never taught to the average person, which is a shame because if used correctly, they can transform one from poverty to wealth, from sickness to health. Napoleon Hill said the greatest sin of all of mankind was to neglect to use this greatest asset. He said if you use this asset, you will have everything you want in abundance. He didn't say within reason. He said everything in abundance. Stay tuned to the end of this video, and I will show you step by step how to use this secret technique to get everything you want in your life. But first, here's what a few people you may know have to say about it. People talk about visualization. How does visualization help with that?
You wrote a lot about visualization.
Visualizing.
Visualize.
My dreams and visualizing kind of really played a role in making me motivated and helping me achieve the goals that I have.
It is everything for me. I literally sat down 2-3 months before and I've made a decision in my head that practicing regularly there are visuals running in my head, me dominating that bullet.
I had to envision it, because if I didn't, I wouldn't be here. So not only did I envision it so much, so clearly and so precisely in my head, that I'm here now.
And visualization is it's a huge factor in improving technical skills.
When you focus on something and you really want it, and you dream about it, and you think about it, and you visualize it, things can really happen in your life.
Visualization still can actually cause a rewiring of the brain beneficially.
I visualize, I'm sitting there on the steering wheel visualizing a brand new car, visualizing good things in times of struggle.
He had done it 1,000 times in his head. He had warmed up in backstage. He had heard the crowd. He had smelt the arena. He had seen the audience. He would really immerse himself in the fight night. So by the time fight night came along, he used to walk in going, yeah, this is my 1,000th time doing this.
What all of these great people are doing is seeing their vision in their mind's eye, in 3D, before they achieve it. If you want to change the station on your TV, you change the frequency. If you want to change the station on your radio, you change the frequency. See, your mind is an electromagnet. Once you charge it with a clear image of what you want, you change your frequency, you change your channel, and you magnetize it to you. You no longer have to chase after it anymore. It will start to chase you. See, this is better than the law of attraction. It's called the law of assumption. It was first discovered by Neville Goddard. Goddard said, assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled and continue therein, and the universe has no choice but to harden your assumption into present fact. Goddard said it's not about believing in it, it's about believing it in. Don't broadcast what you want. Simply assume you already have it. This will create the deja vu effect. You rehearse a situation successfully in your mind, and then it happens in reality, giving you the deja vu feeling. Or, oh, I've already been here before. Now, this capacity is not inborn. In fact, I'll show you how to do it at the end of this video. But first, here's a few people you may know who have used this technique. Aristotle said the soul cannot dream without pictures. Vincent van Gogh said, I dream my painting, and then I paint my dream. The great Walt Disney, when he was on his deathbed, he was interviewed by a reporter on his final day. The reporter told him, sir, you have this amazing Epcot being built by your friend Ken Kerr, but you will never see it. How does that make you feel? And then Disney looked up at him and said, you don't get it. If I didn't see it, you'll never see it. Roger Bannister, the man who broke the 4-minute mile, said he did it because he visualized it many times before the race. He said he visualized the event to create a sense of certainty in his mind and body. He would close his eyes and see the race step by step. He would create the image. He would see the finish line and hear the crowd in his mind. Little known fact, Roger Bannister went on to become a neuroscientist. In his book, Mind Gym, Gary Mack says that Brazilian soccer player Pelé, before every game, would go to the locker room an hour earlier before everyone else. He would lie down using a towel as a pillow and cover his eyes. He would watch a film of himself as a kid playing soccer on the beach in Brazil. This movie in his mind brought back glorious memories, and he would vividly recall the thrill of the game and the joy. He would immerse himself in the love of the game. In short, before every game, he would put himself in touch with his pure love for the sport. After that, Pelé would watch himself reliving some of his greatest moments in world competitions. He would let himself feel the winning moments and enjoy the intensity and those feelings over and over. He talked about how crucial it was to make a strong connection with those images and feelings. Finally, he would see himself as he was about to become, playing brilliantly, scoring goals in a mental movie made up of positive images of enjoyment and triumph. He imagined everything before it happened. The field, his opponents, his team. He saw himself playing like a champion, a force that could not be stopped. He said, remember, it's not just about the visuals and the imagery. It's more about the feelings, the emotions associated with success. He vividly imagined how good it all felt. Only after 30 minutes of this visualization would Pelé then start to warm up and stretch his actual muscles. He primed his mind for victory. And Pelé, who some say is the world's greatest soccer player of all time, was unstoppable. All of these great people harnessed the power of the law of assumption to succeed. Now you may be asking yourself, are there any scientific studies that support the power of visualization or the law of assumption? Well, the answer is yes. In 1996, a study by Dr. Soto from the University of Chicago was conducted. Soto split his participants into 3 groups and tested how many free throws they could make. He had the first group practice shooting free throws for 1 hour. He had the second group just visualize themselves making free throws. And he had the third group do nothing. After 30 days, he tested them again. The first group, who practiced shooting free throws, improved by 24%. The third group didn't improve at all. But the second group, the group who only visualized themselves making free throws, improved 23% without ever touching a basketball. There was another study where people practiced the 5-finger piano exercise for 2 hours a day. They showed a similar increase in brain activity as those who practiced solely in their imagination without ever touching a keyboard. Scientists have confirmed that the brain does not know the difference between a vivid imagination and reality. Therefore, using visualization, you can actually improve performance without actually engaging in the activity. See, that's why Einstein said imagination is greater than knowledge. In another study, scientists had their participants imagine flexing their biceps as hard as they could for 5 times a week. In a few weeks, they increased their bicep strength by almost 14% without ever doing a curl. And there are other studies that have had similar results. Okay, now here's the part that you've all been waiting for. Here's how you create success in your life through the power of visualization. You can use this technique to succeed in any area of life, from earning $10 million like Jim Carrey did, to overcoming stage fright or anxiety in dating. And it only takes 10 minutes a day. Set your time. You can do this by sitting in a chair, or if you prefer, just laying down. Now, there are 2 ways to do visualization. The first is you see the scene playing out in your mind, but through your own eyes, as if you are already there. The second way is to see yourself on a movie screen. This is called mind theater. Studies have compared the 2 methods, and the first method of seeing it through your own eyes is more powerful, but for me, I like to do both of them. Now, the first step is to relax your body. Relax your eyes, relax your face, relax your shoulders, relax your entire body. It may take up to 10 minutes to get into a completely relaxed state, but this is important because relaxation allows the message to enter your inner subconscious. Now, the next step I got from the Silver method, which is all about putting your mind into the alpha brain state. What you want to do is you want to visualize the numbers 3, and then 2, and then 1. And then you go into alpha state. The alpha brain state is a state of creativity and learning. It's also called the flow state. Now, after you do this, I want you to fully immerse yourself in the environment of your goal. See yourself with the goal image, whether it's winning the race, holding the trophy, cashing the check, walking into the house, etc. Remember, the greater the detail, the quicker the attainment of your vision. Include images of overcoming adversity. See yourself fighting your way out of things, overcoming it, and reaching success. The next step is bringing in big-time emotion, intense feeling into the visualization. Goddard said, feeling is the secret. The next step is to make it vivid, make it clear. Remember, the clearer, the more detailed the vision, the quicker the attainment. Next, I want you to engage all of your senses. I'm talking total sensory immersion. What does it feel like to move your muscles? Is there any wind? What does the ground feel like underneath your feet? Are there any smells in the environment? The grass, the outdoor. What do you hear? How are you breathing? Feel the rise and fall of all of these senses and emotions. And finally, just feel enthusiastically how it feels to have already achieved your goal. Behave as if you already have it. Believe that you already have it. And that's it. You can do this for 10 to 20 minutes every day. This technique, this secret, if done correctly, will turn you into a magnet, attracting everything you want in abundance. I mean, think about it. Look around your room right now. Everything you see came out of the human mind, came out of the human imagination. And therefore, imagination creates reality. Fiction turns into fact. How many science fiction movies became fact? Nearly all of them. The biggest problem that most people face is imagining what they don't want, which is why Napoleon Hill said, if you spend as much time visualizing success as you do thinking about failure, you will change your life. Once again, guys, it's not about a feeling of craving, of wanting, of desiring, because that will simply push everything away. The law of assumption is about matching the vibration as though it is already done. Because as Neville Goddard said, assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, and the universe will have no choice but to harden that assumption into present fact. Peace.
Fifth grade, I went in my closet. I said, I am going to the NBA. Anything you invoke with I am after it, the power of manifestation and what can happen in the universe comes true.
Because I always remember my mother always said to me, if you can see it, you can be it.
The first step before anybody else in the world believes it is you have to believe it.
Wake up every day. How bad do you want it? How bad do you want your dream? It's so much easier to forget that vision than to remember it.
Make this note.
As a man, you can't say, I will perform when I feel good. It doesn't work that way. You have to be the kind of person who says, I perform regardless. I'm not saying I was happy. I'm saying I did exactly what I was supposed to do. Wake up!
It is your primary objective to remove friction on your journey, because the more friction there is on your journey, the more difficult it's going to be. We all understand physics. There are a lot of things competing against you, which makes it very hard for you to move towards the objectives, whether they are the macroeconomic conditions, whatever it is. There's a lot of friction moving in the opposite direction. Friction otherwise can be known as reality. Friction is reality. To say, I want to be paid $1 million to do a speech. Reality is going to slap you in the face and say, no, you're not worth $1 million. No one's going to pay it to you. So it is your objective to get to the money, and there's friction coming across the opposite direction. If you're trying to remove friction, do you want to be a rough surface or a smooth surface? We know the answer. Smooth. Ships are smooth. Dolphins are smooth as they go through the water. Planes are smooth as they fly through the air. You want to be as smooth as possible to remove friction on your journey to your objectives. So how do you become smooth? You become smooth by ensuring you interface with the world in the way that the world perceives you. The reason some men have aura, the reason some men are seen as smooth or cool or charming or funny, the reason they have these things is because they interface with the world the way they know the world perceives them. If you're in shape, big, tall, jacked guy, and you walk into the bar and you talk about making money and being a Chad, then the entire world views you that way, so you're now reciprocating to the world the way they view you. There is an interface which is understood. There's no disconnect in your world perception of yourself and the world's perception of you, and now you're seen as smooth and charming. If you do the exact same thing and talk about the exact same things, but you're a fat little midget, everyone's like, this guy's a fucking creep, this guy's a weirdo. You cannot have a disconnect. The disconnect in your interface with reality is what causes friction. That's what makes you a rough edge. You need to be smooth. So to be smooth, you need to understand very well how the world perceives you. Your primary weapon as a man is brute force. You can get up, you can try, you can dedicate yourself, you can do it again, you can get hit, you can get hurt, you can get demoralized, you'll still get up, you'll still try. Your primary interface with the world as a man is brute force. So you must go through life saying, how do people see me? And I'm going to make sure that I return the energy they expect to see. And if you don't like, after self-analysis, if you don't like how people are perceiving you, if you self-analyze and you're very honest and you write down all the good things about you, how people see you, how people perceive you, if you write it all down and you say, I don't like this image they have of me, then you have to change it. That's where the brute force comes in. And you can change it. But in the meantime, you need to be interfacing as frictionless as possible. Most of you are so busy looking out at the world, you have never sat and thought about how the world looks back at you. I have people email me saying, my girlfriend left me. And I look at them and I go, duh, fucking yeah, you're a loser. And it hasn't crossed his mind he's a loser. He's blaming the girl. It's never crossed his mind for a fraction of a second that he's competing with all the other men on social media and he's a loser. So he needed to interface with that girl in a different way. He would have to do different things than a boss could do. A boss could say, I'm going to give you a child, I'm paying for your life, I'm a G. He can't say that. He has to identify how she views him and find another way to interface. He needs to say, you know what, I'm so glad I met you at the beginning of my journey, because I'm not where I want to be yet, but when I get there, I know that so many women are going to be after me, and I'm not going to be able to trust any of them. But you would have been with me the entire way. And that means that when we get there together, I know we're going to have something stronger than all these other people have. All these footballers, use me, Top G, Andrew Tate, all the girls want him, yeah. But you and me, we're going to build something, so we're going to have a real love. The girls who want him are never going to love him like you loved me. That's how he should interface with his woman, by correctly identifying his status. But he didn't do that. It's people looking at you and expecting something, and you do it. Flawless. Flawless. So you need to really sit and analyze and think about how you are viewed. Winners win, son. How do I balance 8 baby mamas, 7 businesses, 104 cars, 7 criminal complaints, houses in 15 countries? Welcome to life. Life as a man ain't easy. You're complaining about a little bit of training, working hard, and seeing your girlfriend. Welcome to life, sir. It is never going to get any easier, ever. The more successful you become, the more you have to deal with. So get used to it. So gentlemen, I think the biggest mistake a lot of you are making is creating artificial friction with the universe. You must be aiming to remove friction. What you need to do at the end of this video is to sit, get down to your fucking underwear, and stand in the mirror and look at yourself and go, how do people see me? How old am I? I'm 24. Okay. So they don't see me as wise. Wise is for old men. But they do see me as energetic, because I'm in good shape and I'm 24. I look energetic. I look hardworking. I don't look wise. So now when I go and meet someone to discuss money, I don't have to sit there and go, yeah, I've done this all before. I know how it works. I've been around the block. Because everyone's going to look at him and go, how much can you really know about life at 24? You're a kid. That's what I think. That's what the other people are going to think. Instead, you should sit there and say, I know what to do, and I'll tell you there's a lot of people who try this, but nobody works as hard as me. I'm young, I heal like Wolverine, I don't need sleep, I run on pure adrenaline. When I dedicate myself to a task, I never fail. Now you get money, because you've removed the friction. You've removed the friction by telling people, by projecting to people the perception they are, by how you get. I run on pure, works as hard as me. I'm young, I heal like Wolverine, I don't need sleep, I run on pure adrenaline. When I dedicate myself to a task, I never fail. Now you get money, because you've removed the friction. You've removed the friction by telling people, by projecting to people the perception they already have of you. Now we have a synergy. Now the interface has completed. You're saying the wrong things and doing the wrong things and creating friction, which is preventing you from getting the money. This is the master of self-analysis. You must self-analyze. I am very aware of myself. I know how I come across. I know in court I look like a criminal. Because when I'm on the street with my big diamond watch and my Bugatti and my 10 women, I look like a fucking criminal. I know. Doesn't mean I'm guilty, but I'm aware of it. I'd be a fool to not be aware of it. This is how you win in life. Primary objective, gentlemen. Establish a direct interface. A clean interface without friction, without lag between you and the outside world. This removes a lot of the blockers which are preventing you from achieving the success that you need. You identify the blockers and the friction via self-analysis. Before you connect with the interface, before you connect with the simulation, you must understand how the simulation views you. Ask your friends, ask your girlfriend. If you had to describe me in 3 words, how would you describe me? Ask people. And you might be surprised by their answers. You might hear their answers and be like, you see me like that? I didn't know that. If you're really unhappy with the answers you get, then you need to change something. And this is how you win. Because there are tiers in life. The best life on the planet is a top tier male. No doubt about it. Top tier males have the best life on the planet. The reason you're not doing things is because you're remembering all of the times you failed at doing those things. Ignore it. Erase it. Just like on your phone, you delete the pictures you don't want. Inside of your mind, you must delete the memories you do not want. Delete the memories you don't want. Rewrite them. Every time I try, I win. Every time I try, I win. Every time I tried, I won. I win, I win, I win. Yep, I'll try this, I'll try this, I'll try this. Goes wrong, doesn't matter, I won. Goes wrong, don't care, never lost. Goes wrong, she wants me. Goes wrong, goes right. And people are sitting there furious with you. Why doesn't he quit like I did? Why doesn't he give up like I did? Why don't his setbacks bother him like they bother me? Why is he so confident? Why doesn't he care? We're trying to take this man down. He doesn't give a shit. Is he mental? Maybe, but he's winning. Life is about skills. You can be good at stuff, you can be bad at stuff. If you're going to do something, be good at it. You annoy the world by refusing to accept inside of your mind any of your previous losses ever. And the reason this annoys people is because most people's identity is shaped by all the times they have failed. They are depressed because they have failed. They are broke because when they tried to start a business, they failed. They don't want to get in the cage and fight because they lost the one time they tried. They don't want to go up to girls because the last girl rejected them. Most people's identity, most people's entire personality, their worldview is based on all of their failures. And they take all of those failures and they try and learn from them, but they end up thinking about them and they just think about all of their constant loss. The way you annoy people is by refusing to do that because it makes them very jealous of you. So you have to be the guy who goes up to a girl in a bar. Excuse me, you are beautiful. And her and her friends laugh in your face. Now most men, after this happened, they go back to their friends and they go, I'm not good with girls. Girls reject me. And they take those losses and they make it their personality. And they stop going up to girls in general. And they lose. Whereas winners will go, after going up to those girls, will go back to their friends and say, they wanted me, but, you know, I'm busy. They're busy. And people will be like, no, she rejected you. Nah. And your friends will be like, what's wrong with you? You're delusional. And you'll go up to 50 girls, and guess what will happen when you go up to the 51st girl? You'll bag a 10. A baddie. And all of a sudden you're winning. And people are sitting there going, whoa, the losses don't affect him. My losses are constraining my worldview. The parameters from which I operate within are all of my losses throughout my life. This guy doesn't care when things happen to him. He just ignores it, pretends it didn't happen, which is super annoying because I keep trying to remind him it happened, and he keeps denying it, denying reality, and keeps trying anyway. And eventually, look, he's secured a baddie. He's pulled it off. I don't have a baddie. I'm thinking about my losses. He forgot about his losses instantly, and now he's got a baddie. How did you do that? And then they hate you, and then they get annoyed. That's basically just what I do. Because reality is what I decide it is inside of my mind. I decide reality inside of my mind. You don't get to tell me what reality is. You don't get to tell me. I've never lost. I'm undefeated. Never lost. I beat you that one time. No, you didn't. You never beat me. You'll never beat me. And this makes your enemies mad at you because they're jealous of you. And it also makes you have unlimited attempts at the goal because you're not defined by your losses or setbacks. You can try again and again and again when most people quit. And they're jealous of how you keep trying. And you don't care. Every girl says no to you, doesn't matter. Every business fails, doesn't matter. Lose all your money, doesn't matter. Who cares? Didn't happen. Never lost. Every girl wants me. I'm going to keep trying businesses over and over. And guess what? When you finally win, everyone talks about your win. All the losses are then forgotten. You try 100 companies, you lose them all, then you become a billionaire. Are you a winner or a loser? You're a winner. All your enemies are mad. Everyone's jealous. Everyone is jealous. The reason I annoy my enemies is because no matter what happens to me, I either don't give a shit or it didn't even happen. Didn't even happen. And that is why I frustrate everyone. No matter what they do to me, it doesn't matter. Because I'm going to keep trying. And eventually I'm going to win. And when I pull something off, then I get to double down and super flex it in everyone's face. How'd you get that baddie? Every girl loves me. You had to go up to 1,000 girls to get that beautiful girl who loves you? Yeah, I had the choice between the 1,000 and I picked her because they all wanted me. Yeah, this is my money, this is my mansion, here's my jet, here's my yacht. Yeah, no big deal. You know, I just never lose. I'm just that guy, I never really lose, you know? All defeat is psychological. It's all in your head. A girl can come up, fucking slap you in the face in front of everyone, and they can put you on the news and everyone can laugh. What's really happened to you? You got slapped? How long did it sting for? 4 seconds? What do you care for? Everyone's laughing at me. So? Nope. Didn't happen. Not me. Nope. I'm a winner. She slapped me because she wants me, and people are laughing at me because they're jealous of me. All my haters talk about me because they're jealous of me. They're jealous that I'm tall and strong and sexy with a long schlong. That's it. That's why they can't stop talking about me all the time, because of the length of my schlong. The length of my schlong ensures that my enemies talk about me all the time because they're very jealous. And every time I see any of them say anything about me, I'm like, it's because I'm sexy and rich. That's the game. So that's your secret to endlessly attempting things in life. That's your secret to annoying your enemies. If you do that, you're also going to end up winning eventually and having a fantastic life. You're a warrior. You're indefatigable. No matter what happens to you, no matter what they do to you, you outlast it. Time and time again, you survive over and over. You're a survivor. That's what you do. You endlessly survive. They hit you with arrows and spears. The enemy's coming at you. You're doing Aikido. They're saying you've been stabbed. You're like, no, I haven't. No, I haven't. No. That's how winners win. Glory and pain are linked. If you want the glory, you have to go through or risk the pain. But if you keep going for the glory and throw the pain away when it happens, eventually all that's left is the beautiful sun. Do you understand? All that's left is the light, the singing of angels, glory and pain. You are flipping a coin, possibly to achieve one of the two. You are flipping a coin. It's heads or tails. It's 50-50. You might get glory, you might get pain. You're flipping a coin. But if every time it lands the wrong way and pain arrives, you Aikido it from your mind, all that's left is the singing of angels where you bask in glory. Keep flipping the coin, gentlemen. Keep flipping. Keep taking the risk. Keep doubling down. Keep risking glory and pain. Keep risking it all. And when the pain comes, throw it away. And eventually, all that you are left with is beautiful glory to black basket. Because you must understand, 50% of people are stupid. If the average is the average, at least half the people you meet are below the average.
I think that the thing that people struggle with most, especially men, is that we only learn lessons the hard way. That's the problem. You want to be good at learning lessons the easy way, which is really paying attention and making sure the feedback you're receiving, you need to be perceptive to it so that it doesn't have to be so hard-hitting. You need to be the kind of person who goes out for a drive and his wheels slide a bit and he slows down. But what people typically do is they go out for a drive, their wheels slide a little bit, they continue, and then they crash. And then they realize I should have slowed down once they hit a tree. They only learn the hard way. But when they got the easy little bits of feedback, they didn't want to pay attention to them because it was easy and they thought they got away with it. And it's the same with a relationship and the same with everything else. There's little bits of feedback. You go, okay, this is going to be a problem later on if I continue. But they ignore that part. They wait for it all to blow up and go wrong. And then they learn. So men only learn the hard way. And I guess you can speed things up if you try and learn the easy way. But sooner or later, hard things are going to happen anyway. God's going to make sure. So you're never going to be able to avoid that car crash one way or another. Something's going to happen. It's going to hit you. And then it's your chance to prove to God you are the person you say you are. And to just be cerebral enough about things to understand that everything comes to an end one day unless you die. And if you die, then it doesn't matter anymore. You have to really understand why you're trying to be so successful as a man. I think all of us as men, if we're honest with ourselves, are driven by this huge sense of ego. I think that we want to feel important and we want others to see us as important. And I think if you use that energy in the correct direction, it can actually be an extremely powerful thing. I don't think there's anything wrong with saying, I want everyone to view me as a competent, important, smart, successful man. I think that's a great thing. But then you get to a point and you have to really work out, what did you want all of the success for? Did you really want the cars? Did you really want all the women? But did you really want all of these things? Or what is going to be the end goal of all of this success? I think everything bad that happens to you as a man is designed to teach you lessons. I think that's why God gives them to you. You're never going to be a good man unless you've suffered. Good men have been through a lot of bad things, and you have to realize why she left or why your heart is broken so that you can change certain things and grow. This is why God puts you in jail or allows you to lose a loved one or a heartbreak or a car crash, anything else. Because our job as men is to suffer all the time, be basically miserable. That's our job. And to get enough money so that we can make our kids and our women happy. You get to smile. You get to be happy. You get joy. So as a man, if you want to say, I love my wife, I love my children, I love my friends, I love the world, you can only have a love that is valuable if you're competent and you're capable. And you're only going to have that if you suffer. So if you want to have the ability to love other people, if I want to be a person who can wake up and realize I truly love my children, I truly love my woman, then the only way I can do that is to suffer enough to be a man whose love has value. If I wake up and say I truly love the people I care about, but I want to be happy, so I'm going to go and sit in the field and be a dumbass, well then my love is completely valueless, because when they call me and say there's a problem, Andrew, you love me, fix it, I'm going to say I can't. And men are nothing but success objects. We are valued by what we can do. We are competency objects. Men are, what can he do? What is he good at? That's all we're measured on, is our capability. I think happiness is the easiest way to destroy your own capability, because you're too busy doing dumb shit. Because women don't go out in the world and carve their own path. Men do. We go out there and struggle and we carve our own paths, and perhaps we'll find something in the middle because through personal experience we've done enough crazy things to come up with some strange or different conclusion.
Right.
Women don't do that. So women are just either obeying a man or obeying the Matrix, which means that men have an obligation, if you want to destroy the Matrix and you want to protect the women, is to make it clear to them that they're being lied to all of the time. If you wake up and say, I don't care how happy I am, I want to be proud of myself, I want to make other people proud of me, so I have to do all these things irregardless of how I feel, you're going to have a fantastic life. To get long-term happiness is something that's only going to come from dedication and hard work, which requires short-term suffering. It's just delayed. So if you're dedicating yourself and working hard for the future happiness, especially considering the fact that most people are never happy with what they get and you always want more, your life just becomes hard work and dedication and struggle and suffering, and that's what you just exist within, and you don't operate under the paradigm of happy or sad. To me, it's quite binary. It's not a scale of how happy am I. It's just, has something terrible happened today? Am I distraught? No, then I'm happy. It's almost like there's no such thing as cold. It's just an absence of heat. In space, there's no cold. There's just heat or there's no heat. Well, if there's no despair, heaven forbid a family member dies, if there's no despair, then there's only happiness left. But to me, happiness isn't the giddish, smiling, look at me, I'm happy. That's for children and women. And as a man, truthfully, you get your contentment. I wouldn't even say happiness, but you achieve your contentment through making others happy. I feel content when my children are happy. I feel content when I make my woman happy. I get more from giving than receiving. That's why Christmas is set up the way it is and Dad never gets anything. We give. We go to work, we struggle, we make money, we suffer so others can be happy because of us. I think the unhappiest people in the world don't have any struggle at all. You often find that people who are struggling but know exactly what they're supposed to do, if they're getting up every day and they're grinding and they're working hard and they don't have what they want yet, but they believe they're going to get it and they're trying their very best and they're dedicating themselves, they're very happy. Perhaps to people who are born with a trust fund and unlimited money and have no struggles in their life, and they have no objectives to try and conquer, are truly the miserable ones. Perhaps we're built for struggle. Perhaps the human mind and soul and spirit is built to struggle. Perhaps we're built to suffer. I know me as a man, I'm happiest when I suffer. Why did the emperors constantly try and expand their empires? Because they wanted to struggle. Yeah. They wanted difficulty. Would you play a video game if it was easy? If you could never die? I mean, cheats get boring pretty quick. You play it because it's hard. That's the whole point of it. You're supposed to struggle with it. You're supposed to suffer with it. So I think that a lot of people confuse these things and they sit and say, this is really making me unhappy. Or people ask me about my current legal troubles. Is it making you unhappy? It must be really stressful. I said, yeah, perhaps. But if I didn't have it, perhaps I'd be worse. You know, if I woke up and everything was just perfect, that'd be great for a few weeks. If you just wake up and nothing ever goes wrong, I think that'd be quite depressing in its own way. That's the beauty of life, is the up and the down, because there's no light without dark. But you get to a point where you start to realize, after a while, you look around you and go, people get what they deserve to some degree. There is some form of karmic justice. When I meet the kids and people I went to school with, who are the same age as me, from the same terrible background I'm from, and they have these same shit lives, I refuse to believe that their own decisions didn't keep them there. Yeah. You're in the same town, in the same area, smoking weed, with no fucking money. We went to the same school. I'm one of the most known people on the planet, with hundreds of millions. You have fuck all. You cannot sit here and tell me that your own decisions had no part to play in this. Yeah. Of course it did. It all comes down to who you are as a man. The only answer is masculine excellence. There's nothing you can do besides hard work, accept the trauma and pain and suffering, and work harder than everyone else around you worked. Because life as a man is pain and suffering. And when I say that, because you're never going to be a good man or good at being a man without pain and suffering. You're going to have to go through a bunch of shit and have a terrible life to become a good man. I think you should embrace that and accept it. And I think that the correct mental model for men to have is a degree of stoicism and not to be too concerned with even how they feel. As a man, 99% of the time you're going to be stressed or annoyed about something that's just happened, currently happening, or about to happen. That's life. We live constantly anxious. We have a lot of things to do. And you either suffer the consequence of the stress it requires to be a somebody, or you suffer the consequence of having no stress because you're a fucking nobody and you work in Starbucks and then you're a no one. Yeah. There's no escape the eternal suffering of man. But I think that putting a man through some stress and putting him through some tests and allow him to prove his worth and get him confident, he'll be okay anyway. And that's why when they say I hate women, I don't hate women. I'm just ultra realistic about what a man can do and what a woman can do. Right. I don't hate women at all. If someone breaks into my house, I'm going to stand up and fight. I'm going to risk my life to protect my woman because I don't think she can fight. But of course, when I say women can't fight, I'm a misogynist and I'm terrible. How am I a misogynist if I'm fucking dying for her? It's a psyop. And it's a media spin.
Yeah.
But it's bullshit, and people fall for it all of the time. You're a man who has his shit together at a certain level of status. You can say to a woman, look, I love you with all my heart. I want to be with you. I'm going to take care of you. But you're not going to tell me what to do. I'm in charge because this is my life. You're on the tape train. We're headed to Success Station. I'm the one driving it. And if you're going to be on my train, certain things are going to happen. If you're unhappy, you can get off. No problem. People are not going to be quick to replace something or attempt to replace something which is basically irreplaceable. So if you're a high enough status individual, then you get to get away with more. Everything is so fast all the time, and that means that everybody wants everything fast. And unfortunately, as you know, even better than me, it's hard to get anything of value immediately. Anything that comes immediately is kind of scary. If I walked in here and you said, here, Andrew, nice to meet you, here's $1 million, I think, is he going to shoot me in the parking lot? What did he give me $1 million for? What is this immediate money from? You know, so immediate things often are a trap if they arrive at all. And everyone's constantly trying to find the quickest avenue to what they want. And I think that's leading to a lot of bad decisions. The world doesn't work that way. I think that as a man, there's always going to be a degree of pain and suffering in your journey. I don't think you're ever going to become a successful man or be good at being a man without pain and suffering. And there's many times in my life where something terrible happened to me, and at the time, if I could change it, I would have. But retrospectively, you kind of look back and go, you know what, that was formulative for me. That's right. That is what God decided I needed to become who I became. So all of the pain and all the suffering I've ever gone through in my life ended up, in the end, building me into the person I am, and I'm proud of who I am. People often say to me, oh, but Tate, you're lucky, you were talented. Yeah, I was talented, but I didn't find out I was talented until I was disciplined. If I wasn't disciplined enough to train, I would have never seen my talent. Because the guy with less talent than me, who trained harder than me, would have been kicking my ass. So you don't get to discover anything about yourself. You don't get to discover any of your genetic advantages, any of your talents. You don't get to discover anything about who you are as an individual, your spirit, your soul, what you're made of. Without discipline, you can't even discover anything. So discipline is a key to discovery. Discipline teaches you all about yourself. It teaches you what you really have. You know, there's a whole bunch of people out there that might be the best pianist in the world, but they've never had the discipline to learn piano. So nobody knows. And that's how life works. So discipline is extremely important if you ever want to become anybody or be anything. Just understand that feelings pass and time moves on. And in the end, you're going to look back on it all, as crazy as it is, as a happy memory. When people say, I'm feeling really down and it's really difficult right now and I don't see it ever getting better, it's going to get better. And you need to remember those times because you're actually, as crazy as it sounds, going to think back on them fondly at some point.
Believe in yourself and don't rely on
How often do we turn to think about the words that we use, that form a vocabulary, our habits of speech, a whole lexicon of imagination, which in turn becomes the apparatus through which we build our internal world, through which we process our emotions in whatever box of sadness, happiness, melancholy, or joy that we might assign them. Language is not only the building block of our inner emotional landscape, but also the foundation of our political systems and our scientific frameworks. It's wrapped inside the envelope of the noble ideal that we term truth. It's a thread that connects science, politics to poetry, stories, and myth. Through it, philosophically, we create terms such as objective and subjective, truth and fiction, reality and unreality, that somehow seem so definite, palpable, and tangible to us. We can map language, define it with computational precision, and develop large language models that generate meaning through a process of statistical probability assignment. But no closer have we understood language than understood color through absorbing the world's corpus of Wikipedia articles on the subject. How is it possible to articulate the lived experience of language? Language eludes us. To articulate a thought is to set sail on the ship of language. It both calcifies our thinking, filling our minds with carcasses, cliches, myopic worldviews. It also emancipates our thinking, offering us windows for new ways of seeing.
Longingly I feel how much more good I could have done if I had acquired normal speech. Well, all of a sudden, this all of a sudden I feel all you understand this wonderful.
Sullivan. In an extract from her autobiography, The Story of My Life, Helen Keller describes the exact moment that she had learned the word for water. We walked down the path to the well house, attracted by the fragrance of the honeysuckle with which it was covered. Someone was drawing water, and my teacher placed my hand under the spout. As the cool stream gushed over one hand, she spelled into the other the word water, first slowly, then rapidly. I stood still, my whole attention fixed upon the motions of her fingers. Suddenly, I felt a misty consciousness, as if Ponty wrote extensively on the subject of language. The question often asked by Ponty is not what is language, but how does language disclose itself to us through how we actually encounter language in our immediate experience. Here, he examines the way language lives in speech, through which we turn to words when we articulate something to ourselves. But in a body that is pinched, we as subjects, a mind, an observer, or whatever word we may use, turn to words, pronouncing them, as soon as our awareness crosses. The other linguistic stream that merges with this modern conception of truth is the Latin.
You ever wonder why some people spend 20 years visualizing abundance and never become abundant, while someone else gets hit with one crystal clear vision that changes the trajectory of their entire life? See, 99% of people completely misunderstand the frequency. The universe is a reception, and your only job is to be quiet enough to hear it. That's what we're going to explore today, because once you understand this ancient way of living, we're going to pack it together. Two things. Number one, visualization is not something that you do. Visualization is something that happens to you. And number two, people who sit down and visualize every single day are actually doing the one thing that is going to prevent their vision from materializing into reality. I want to start with number two, and I want you to think about this for a minute. Right? Because the golden equation that I've taught on so many episodes is that desire plus non-resistance equals desired results. If you can have a desire and function with a down-regulated nervous system, if you can remove any of the limiting beliefs or the traumas or the stories in your relationship with your desire, 100% of the time, consistently and predictably, it will materialize into reality. So think about what this sitting down every single morning visualizing actually indicates. It is a symptom of do a thing that could. Now, if you enjoy sitting down in the morning and spending 10 to 20 minutes every single day in your vision, by all means do it. But if you really check in with yourself, completely transform the way that I think about visualization. I couldn't stop thinking about it when I first heard it. He said, creation is already finished. What he said was, all things that ever will be, have been, are created, exist right now in this field called the fourth dimension. And at first I read those words the same way most people probably do. They sounded poetic, maybe even a little abstract. But the more I sat with this idea, the creation is already finished, the more unsettling it actually became. Because if creation is finished, then that means that the life that you're trying so desperately to build may not actually need to be built at all. It means that every possibility that we could possibly think of already exists. Every business that you could create, everyone, is already present as a potential within consciousness. The future vision for you to be worship first, but what if it's an act of revelation? What if visualization isn't an act of imagination at all? What if it's an act of revelation? And I love this distinction, and it makes me laugh because I think about all the years that I sat down and I'm like, if I can just visualize hard enough, and now I got to infuse it with emotion because that's what teachers say, and I got to project it out into reality. I can get the thing. I'm like, oh my God, look how much resistance was there. Right? But this idea that reality is already complete and we're not trying to project, we're trying to receive, completely changes the role that we play in the process, because you're no longer trying to invent your future. You're remembering a future that already exists beyond your current perception. That's pretty cool. You're not forcing an impulse preventing me from receiving the vision that's already trying to get to me. And that single shift changes everything, because instead of trying to become a more powerful broadcaster, you over techniques and you start paying attention consciously, your nervous system actually creating while someone is standing beside you with a leaf blower, like running at full volume. The music is still coming out of the receiver. The station never stopped broadcasting, but you can't hear it because the noise is drowning out the signal. Station, like an old radio, they're actually creating internal static. You know, imagine trying to tune an old radio and to hear it while someone is standing beside you with a leaf blower, like running at full volume. The music is still coming out of the receiver. The station never stopped broadcasting, but you can't hear it because the noise is drowning out the signal. And I think that's exactly what trauma does to the nervous system. I think that's what limiting beliefs do. They create so much internal noise that the deeper intelligence that is inside of you can barely be perceived. And then we mistakenly conclude that our calling is absent, that we don't know how to visualize or imagine properly, when the truth may be that it's been there the whole time. That the whole picture has always been there for you. You just simply haven't become still enough to hear it. And so the more I began thinking about this idea, the more I realized that almost everything I'd ever been taught about visualization rested on a single assumption that my future did not yet exist. And that assumption is so deeply woven into modern personal development that we rarely stop to question it. We assume our job is to sit quietly, imagine a future that isn't real yet, and project it onto a field or the screen of reality. To somehow convince the universe through our practice and our desire to manufacture it on our behalf. But again, what if that assumption is wrong? What if the future isn't waiting to be created at all? What if it already exists, not in physical form, but as an energetic potential in the field of consciousness itself? What if the entrepreneur that you're capable of becoming, the marriage that you're capable of having, the body that you're capable of inhabiting, and the contribution that you're capable of making in the world, they paired opposite cult of belief you've ever had? Did they arrive because you sat at your desk, clenching your jaw, desperately trying to invent brilliance? Probably not. Did they appear unexpectedly into some great music? And manufacture. In fact, so often I find myself trying to manufacture a result, and I become so frustrated that I finally give up and I step away, and that's when I become non-resistant enough to receive the answer I've been looking for the whole time. And usually those answers arrive as a way of piecing all the pieces together. It's like the picture just emerges. There were like different things that were showing up in my life, and then bam, the whole framework is there. You know, you might be too young to remember this, but I was born in the 1900s, and we in the 90s they had these pictures that you could buy. It was a gimmicky type of thing, which was these geometric shapes. It almost just looked like an artistic pattern. And if you squinted your eyes just enough, the pattern like would turn into a unicorn or a UFO, like you could see the picture inside of it. And that's what happens in these moments. It's like the whole thing drops in. Sometimes it's an entire business. These moments rarely occur when I'm trying to visualize. They happen when I'm present. They happen when my nervous system is settled enough that the negative inner critic inside of me actually forced me to act. The question is though, tuned in real, because there's another layer of static between you and the future that is already here, trying to the room left for revelation because there was no room left for stillness. And if you've ever gone through profound anxiety or deep emotional suffering or addiction, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Survival compresses consciousness of a lifetime spent believing that you're someone other than who you truly are. You know, I think about of a lifetime spent believing that you're someone other than who you truly are. You know, I think about a lake, and that's how our consciousness is until we heal. It's agitated by fear and shame and scarcity and comparison and resentment. Receive it. That allowed imagination to happen to you. It had your identity templates. Better question it. That allowed imagination to happen to you. It had your identity temporarily stepped aside. Had your nervous system entered enough coherence that the deeper intelligence of life could finally become audible. Sometimes wonder like how many extraordinary ideas have been lost because someone instinctively reached for their phone instead of sometimes wonder like how many extraordinary ideas have been it's completely under your control. And it's often within unoccupied space that the deepest intelligence of our lives begins speaking. And I sometimes wonder like how many extraordinary ideas have been lost because someone instinctively reached for their phone.
At the conclusion, geez, I better start thinking for myself rather than follow everybody. Most people, they get a job, they look around, they see how everybody else is doing their work, and they start. Okay. Now, I read a lot of books. I've got probably 1,000 books sitting in my den at home in my library, but the one that I carry it everywhere I go, and I read it all the time, is Think and Grow Rich. I never stop reading it.
Where's the value for you to reread that? I mean, you must know it well enough that...
I think I could probably recite it verbatim. But the secret is, I once read in a book where it said, when you read a good book through, the second time, you don't see something in it that you didn't see before. You see something in yourself that wasn't there before. You see, when I read this, I created a greater awareness. Let me just read you one line out of here, 2 lines.
Okay.
Hill said, the missing link in all systems of education known to civilization today may be found in the failure of educational institutions to teach students how to organize and use knowledge after they acquire it. He went on to say that we should understand the real meaning of the word educate. It's not going to a brick and mortar edifice for 25 years. That's gathering information. You'll probably develop your memory, but I would question how well you develop your mind. And I'm not against education because I encourage my children to go to school, as we know it. Now, he said the word education comes from the word educo. And he says it's derived from the Latin word educo, meaning to induce, to draw out, or to develop